The branch agency interviews industry leaders on how to unite people and organizations to advance shared industry objectives. Today's guest is Knuth Lorenzen, president of the European Hygienic Engineering and Design Group from 2007 to 2015. He shares his views on laying the foundations for a successful branch organization with our interview host Rob and all of you listeners. Enjoy.
Mr. Lorenzen, or should I address you as President Emeritus, since you have been leading a very large, globally active branch organization for 2 consecutive terms? That's 8 years, if I'm not mistaken.
I count this 9 years when you start with 2007, because I started already in January 2007. And I don't know if I'm not correct, but in my calculation, that is the 9 years.
What did this globally active engineering and design group that you were leading actually do? What was the reason to start off this group in the first place?
At that time, we had a lot of recalls in the food industry by contaminated or wrongly stored food components. And there were a group of people, they thought we have to invest in making things better. And one of this big thing was easy cleanability.
What type of stakeholders share this common goal and are united in that branch organization?
These different stakeholders came out of the food industry because they are using machinery from the machinery manufacturer. So that was one section, and the other section are the machinery manufacturer for the business. And then, also legal advisor.
Now, if you compare leading a branch organization comprising volunteers with leading a privately run organization with paid staff, what would you consider to be the most important aspect to pay attention to as a leader?
Yes, if you deal with an organization, they are totally independent. No payment to the people they're working for you or with you. You have to have an idea how to please them. Because if they don't like working together, then they will not work together.
Okay, and how did you approach this? How did you do it?
You need discussions. If you tell people how to do or what to do, if you dictate, it's really the wrong thing, the wrongest thing you can ever do. Especially in this group, you need, I would say, most communication ever. If you don't communicate, you don't hear things, and you can, of course, not transfer things. A leader should be a real human being. We have not only the business understanding, but also the understanding for the different ideas.
You are really depending as a president, I guess, also on the amount and the quality of information you retrieve out of that organization. How did you approach that challenge while your organization was growing and more people got involved?
Managing is also sometimes to participate. I don't mean control, but just to participate, and then by this you can disseminate your own knowledge and also can take new ideas to make up your brain.
Yes, and I think everyone that has served under your presidency knows that once you had made up your mind, you would also not be afraid to make tough decisions if necessary, and really, put your leadership in action. Is that also something important to be able to do as a president, to be the president, to be the one that calls the shots ultimately if a decision has to be made?
Yes, in my time, when I was the captain of the boat, I thought I have to do it in this way to have a certain control of nearly everything. Because if you let some sections go by themselves, you don't know what they are doing, they may go in the wrong direction.
Okay, and how did you make sure to know what the right direction was? In other words, How did you build up your activities? Did it lead to a certain structure?
We discussed every time new topics, what is necessary for the different factories. And by this, we implemented then more and more subgroups to create these documents.
How do you, in general terms, ensure a sustainable path towards growth of your branch organization?
When you think about to grow this group, first, why shall this group grow? Okay, we need more documents, more training sessions, so we need more people. Why shall they join? What is the offer? The offer would be they can sharpen their knowledge in specific areas. So we enable them to do more or to deliver more in their own sector or even to their company.
Okay, so you focused on optimizing, maximizing the membership value for the members of your branch organization first. And then, of course, you have to collaborate, work together internally and reach out externally. Has the emerging internet revolution changed the way that you approached this back then?
Today, the reach out via internet is much, much more used than in the past. Let's say before COVID, I traveled to China, make a day presentation and traveled back. Today, we just switch on the computer and start our forum, conversation, whatever, to disseminate our knowledge.
But at the same time, you were building up a social community. So don't you think that it was and is always very important also for people to meet in person?
Very, very much so, because when we're giving presentations, that is easy to use the internet. But we need also face-to-face meetings, because otherwise, if you have a loud or continuous speaker in this group, some other things will not be discussed. Sometimes you need to look in the eyes of your partner, face by face, face to face.
Finally, I would humbly like to ask for a testimonial here, Mr. Lorenzen. As you know, I have been involved personally with supporting this group of yours to become more visible online. How have you experienced this, and what value do you see in that?
Yeah, before your time, we had our own ideas how to spread our ideas around, how to make us more known on the globe, to become more popular, and this was always a headache. We did good things also. We created also a web page, but just as it was. With your input, that was much, much, much better. Not only the congresses, the internet information were better created, were nicer to look at. Today also at other internet connections, we have different channels. So it's more wider, and what we need is disseminating our informations, and this was done with your input much, much better.
Thank you, sir.
And personally, I really enjoyed talking to you, working together with you, or being together with you.
Thank you very much. Final thoughts?
That you involve people, inform people, and on backwards you get involved and you are informed.
Thank you, Knuth Lorenzen, former president of the European Hygienic Engineering and Design Group, for sharing your insights with us and for your testimonial, of course. Very kind of you. Thanks.
All the best, Rob.